Hi and welcome to the next tutorial. Today we'll be looking at how to use Adobe Premiere Pro. Now this video is going to be for beginners, and it's just going to teach you basic things like how to open a new project, how to organize your project, how to do a little bit of trimming, cutting, a bit of effects, how to actually export your videos, add music, things like that. So if you're a beginner in Premiere Pro and you want to learn the basics, let's jump in. So the first thing inside Premiere Pro is we need to create a new project. So this is what your new project window looks like. All you need to do here really is to just name the project. So if this is going to be my video project, I then can just click OK. And once you've done that, then you open up the whole of Adobe Premiere. The first thing that you have up here is you have your workspaces, all right? So now there's different workspaces for different kinds of things. So for example, if you want to do some color grading, things like that, you can click on color. If you want to work on effects, you can go into your effects workspace. But we're going to try and do most of our stuff in the editing workspace, so you don't have to keep on switching around. Now, you've got your tools down here. Now, the two main tools that I want to see you guys use is the selection tool, and the shortcut for that is pressing V on your keyboard, and also the razor tool, all right, which the shortcut is C. And the razor tool will allow us to cut up clips, okay? You then have another cool tool down here, which is the type tool, and this allows us to write text over certain clips and things like that. Now, talking about the workspace, if you ever get stuffed up or you accidentally, move some of these things around and it doesn't look exactly like how you left it, what you can do is you can go into workspaces and then you can reset to saved layout. And that just makes sure it goes back to how Premiere was when you first started it. So, the first thing that we need to learn about is how to actually import media and how to get started. Now, the cool thing with Adobe Premiere is that you can actually set folders and you can do these things inside this area, and they're actually called bins. All right, so you can think of a bin as a folder. Now, I want to set up my folders to have things like all my video clips, but I also want to have another folder for music. Now, I mean, you can just import all the clips into there, but you will notice that if you start to have a lot of clips, it's going to be a little bit messy and unorganized. Now, there are two different views that you can use in here. You can use the icon view, or you can use the list view. And if you need to make them bigger and smaller, you can do that by dragging this button over here. So now what we are going to be doing is we are going to be adding things into here. Now you can just drag and drop if you really want, or you can right click and go to import. So I'm just going to import some video and some music. So here I've got all my videos that I'm just going to import. So all I have to do is just highlight them all, press OK, and then Premiere will import them into that bin. All right, and so you can see here that all my videos are actually in there. Okay, now to get back to the main directory, you can just move back over here. All right, so depending on which way you like to view your icons. So I'm going to do the same for music, and I'm just going to import some music that I've got. So again, find your music, press open, and now I can go inside and I can see that I've got 4 videos and I've got 1 music clip. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to worry about the timeline. Now, sure, you can just go and you can click and you can drag something to the timeline, but a better way to do this is by creating a new sequence. Now you can create a new sequence in a variety of ways. You can go to new sequence and create it from up here in the file menu, or you can create a new sequence from down here. Now, once you go and you create a new sequence, what we are going to be doing is we're basically going to be creating a 1080 video, so 1920 by 1080 at 24 frames. So I'm just going to go in the digital SLR. And then once I click OK, now I can see my sequence has come up, and now I can drag clips to it. Another way to do this is if you actually go on one of your clips and you know the resolution of your clip, you can go to new sequence from clip, and that will actually create that sequence from that clip at that resolution. So you have to make sure that you know the resolution so that you can actually use it. If not, you can just go back into here and go sequence, and in this case I'm going to just keep it 1920 by 1080. The next thing that I want to show you is how to create in and out points for your video. Now if I just click on this video and drag it in, it's going to have the video playing the whole way. Okay, now if you don't want the video to play the whole way through, and you want to actually, you know, maybe just find that video and then you only want, say, the beginning bit or the end bit, all right, you can scrub through this, and when you're ready you can press I to create the in point for the video, and then say you only want it to go to about there, you can press O, and that will create the out point. So now when you drag that clip in, you can see that it only plays that certain section of that clip. Okay, now this clip is, you can see that the resolution here is much bigger than the one here because we're only using 1920 by 1080. So if you want to change that, you will have to go into your effect controls, and then you can go into your scale and you can actually change that clip so that it fits something like that. So I think it's around, you can change it because this is a 4K clip, so we're bringing it down to 50, and then you get that whole screen in there. Now these videos I just downloaded from Pexels Videos. You can actually download the 1920 by 1080 versions, so just please make sure that you know how to do that. But I'm just gonna drag in another clip. Okay, so I'm just gonna double click on this. I'm going to find my in point. I'm going to find my out point, so I don't want that transition. I want it to stop there. And then what I can do is, if I just click and drag this, if I only want the video, all right, I can click and drag that, and that will drag only the video. Okay, so now I've got these two clips. And by the way, if your video and audio are linked together, what you can do is you can go to, or you can just delete the audio from underneath. If you can't delete it, you'll have to go to unlink to be able to delete it. So now I'm just going to put these two clips together, and I'm just going to put another clip in as well. So I'm going to do the same thing. All right, I'm going to find my in point, I'm going to find my out point, and I don't want any audio, so I'm just going to drag that clip down there. So now I've got 3 clips on my timeline. I'm going to show you how to cut some of these clips. So say for example, I click on the razor tool and say I want to cut it probably around about there. Okay, what I can do on that is I can go to my selection tool by pressing V on my keyboard, clicking on that clip, and now I can delete it. Alright, but now you have this gap that's there. And so what you can do is you can grab both those clips, move them over, and you can get rid of that gap like that. Or you can right click in here and go to ripple delete, and that will bring that clip back over there. Now if you want to play these clips, you can just press space on your keyboard, and then it will play and pause your clips. So there you have, there's 3 clips in there that I have so far, and I was able to cut them. If you want to cut some more, again, razor tool. Alright, let's say I want to just cut out that little bit. Okay, I'm just going to click on that bit, delete, right click, ripple delete, and now I've made another cut on there. So the next thing that we're up to is transitions and effects. All right, and so you can find the transitions and effects over here. So if you need to make this box bigger, you can just by dragging it, or you can go and click onto your effects workspace, and you can go and find your effects up here. So whichever way you want to actually use it. If you just want to stay in the same workspace, then you have to make sure that this box is just a little bit bigger, or you can click this and you can go into effects and you can find it there. Now for effects, let's say for example I go into my, well, let's first start with transitions. Alright, go into transition, I can go into my dissolve transition, and if I wanted to add a cross dissolve, alright, in between these two clips, all I have to do is click and drag and then make sure that it can go in between those two clips. And then once I've done that, if I want to make that cross dissolve longer, I can just click on this and click on the end and then bring it out a little bit. So now you can see that if I play it from here, it kind of fades into each other. So that's a pretty cool transition already. Alright, so we're going from the boat and then we're going to that bridge. Now you can do this another way. You can right click on the end of your clip and go apply default transition, and that's going to apply that cross dissolve anyways. So that's two ways on how to get that transition there. Another good one is the dip to black transition. So if I put that in between those two clips, you can see that it dips to black. So now the next thing I need to show you how to do is how to add music, or how to add background music to your clips. So it's quite easy to do. All I need to do is make sure I go back into my project and then find my music and then just drag it into my timeline. Now if you don't want the whole clip, you can always cut it in here by pressing on your inputs and outputs, or you can just drag it into here and then you can cut it yourself later. I'm going to show you how to actually change the volume of this clip. All you have to do is just click on this little line over here and then you can change the volume. Alright, to cut this clip, we can just click C for our razor tool, and then we can just get rid of the last clip. Now you want to probably add a fade in and fade out to this clip. So to do a simple fade in and fade out, what you can do is you can just hold control on your keyboard and then you can set these audio points. So I've just set 2 audio points. Basically I'm just going to set one to right down here and the other one at, you know, normally on the line, and then so when I play that back, it fades in. And so to do that at the end, again, just click on a point and then click right at the end, and then you can bring it down and that will now fade out that audio. So that's one way to do it. You can actually, you know, look at some of your effects and you can put some effects in there to fade in and fade out. Now the next thing I need to show you how to do is how to add some text. Alright, and it's quite simple. All you need to do is you need to go and grab the T tool, alright, and you can click and write whatever you like. So once you've got all of that highlighted, you can go into your effect controls and you can go into your text, and then you can change the font to whatever you want. Okay, now things with fonts, try not to use too many fonts in your videos. Like try keep it pretty consistent, so maybe only have 1 or 2 fonts that you use. So you can change the size if you want, etc. All caps, alright, so forth. And then if you click on the select tool, you can now move it to wherever you want. Now if you wanted to add a transition to that, again you can right click and it will apply the cross dissolve transition, and you can, you know, make it longer if you really wanted to. But yeah, so, and also something cool that you can do in here is you can start to play around with some of the animations. So for example, scale, you can now scale this, you know, up and down. So just by adding a little bit of scale to your text, it just gives it that little bit of movement. So to do this, we will click on the toggle animation icon, I'm just going to move it forward in time a little bit. So I'm going to move that animation out, that's at 100, and then I'm just going to go back and change it to 90. So now I've got this text that kind of zooms in slightly. If you want to make it a longer zoom, you can by just moving this keyframe out. Cool. Anyways, the last thing I want to show you is how to apply a LUT to your entire video. Now, for this is all about color correction and color grading, right? It's that final polish on your video. So you can go in here and go to new item, and then you can go into a new adjustment layer. All right, just press OK. And once you have a new adjustment layer, you then can drag it to your whole clip. And once you've done that, you then need to go into your effects, and then you can write Lumetri color, and you can drag this to your adjustment layer. Now what that does is, alright, when you go into your effect controls on your adjustment layer, you can now go into creative, and you can apply this look, and there's plenty of presets in Adobe Premiere. So let's say for example I click one, you see how it changes the color, and so now it changes the color to all of the clips, and it kind of gives that uniformed look to everything. Now most of the time keeping your intensity at 100% it's going to be too much, so what you need to do is just drag it down probably to about 30 or 40 depending on the actual LUT. And once you're happy with that, you can finally export your video. So to export the video, all you need to do is go to File, Export, Media. Make sure that there's no cutoffs at the end and you want it to finish when you want it. And then all you have to do is just change your settings or your preset to either high quality, 1080, or YouTube Full HD. And once you do that, all you have to do is click export, and then that will export your file. If you want to change the name of the file, you just click up here, and then you can actually change it to whatever you like. So anyways guys, I know that was a long video, but thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something, and I'll see you next time.